Hello, hello. We are back at the whiteboard today for a little mini training, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to go over simple over fancy hypertrophy and give you some things to focus on if building muscle is something that you would like to do with your training. As stated in the intro, we are covering simple over fancy hypertrophy. This will apply to coaches and or trainees who just want to learn more about maybe the background of their programming and how they can focus on building muscle. Now, there are a lot of factors that go into building muscle. Today, we are discussing one of them, which is the main driver of increasing cross-sectional area, either adding sarcomeres, so adding length within a muscle fiber, or adding myofibrils in parallel to one another, both of those resulting in an increased cross-sectional area. So that is mechanical tension. This is the main driver as far as the workout piece, the exercise piece of driving hypertrophy. You can achieve an increased mechanical tension or an increased stimulus, a demand on the muscle through a few different things, which is why we have these blanks here. I will fill them in as we go. So the first one is time under tension, increasing time under tension. We can do that a few different ways. So this looks like add tempo, but if we add time to tempo, so say you were doing 3x8 back squats at a 1-1-1 tempo, if we change that tempo to a 2-2-1 tempo, we are now spending more time in the position, specifically in the eccentric in the bottom position. You are adding time under tension to an exercise that previously had a lower time under tension. Okay, so tempo is one way that we can manipulate time under tension. Volume is another way that we can manipulate time under tension, and you can do that in a few ways as well. You can add sets and reps to a given exercise, so use the same thing. You were doing squats for 3 sets of 8, now you're going to do 3 sets of 10 and or 4 sets of 8. You are adding sets or reps or both to the same exercise that you were previously performing, or you can add more exercises that hit that same muscle group, that have the same target, and are going to add additional time under tension to a given muscle group. Next is load, and that is quite simply just the weight being lifted. So if you changed nothing else and you just added more weight to the bar, heightened the demand of the muscle fibers doing the work, then you would be increasing mechanical tension in theory. One of the last things that we can do to potentially increase mechanical tension, the demand, the stimulus on a given group of muscles and or muscle, is to change up the angle at which the muscle is being stressed from. So we can do that again a few different ways. You can create biases. So let's think about a Bulgarian split squat. If we have our foot further out in front of us, that tends to have, with a more vertical shin, a glute or hamstring bias. If the foot is pulled back further underneath an athlete or a client, then it tends to have a quad bias. So we can create biases. You can do that within a given muscle as well. So stressing a certain muscle from different angles can recruit more of the upper fibers, the middle fibers, the lower fibers, so on and so forth. Changing the angle, we can use biases to do that. Exercises as well. So you can stress the same muscle from using different exercises. And then another thing that we can do that is slightly within changing the angle of a muscle fiber, more so in recruiting possibly more muscle fibers, is increase the range of motion. So think about doing something from a deficit. Ideally, that is going to recruit more of those end range muscle fibers. So to review, all of these things are just possible ways that you can keep your training simple, but still achieve hypertrophy through specifically mechanical tension, adding a new demand, a heavier load, a different angle, a deeper range of motion to the muscle in order to drive mechanical tension. So hopefully that was helpful. You can drop comments, questions, anything down below, and I'll see you in the next one.